Now 90,000 crores capex has been put into the infrastructure to create the infrastructure in airport infrastructure. But creating infrastructure, that itself is one challenge. And when I took the charge as a minister for this aviation, sir, I have promised the people of this country that, thank you. Thank you. She has always been so caring, sir. Like a mother, always. Thank you, ma'am. So, when we look deep, it is not about just creating the infrastructure, but it is about connecting them also. Now, you can spend a lot of money, you can create the infrastructure, you can create more airports, but the ultimate challenge, thank you. The ultimate challenge is how do you connect? And that is where, bringing in all the aspects of the government, we created the Udan scheme, which is Uday Desh Ka Aam Nagrik. Through the Udan scheme, the challenge of these airlines, because it is a market-driven industry, where they feel there might be a non-viability in running a route, the government has taken the responsibility a little bit on himself, and it has said that why don't we provide the viability gap funding? It was the first time that it has been done at such a large scale. And through the Udan scheme, now we have started 609 routes in the country in just 8 years span of time. Nowhere in the world you would have seen such a scheme, which has been run by the government itself, so that the non-viable routes, the airlines can come and start the routes and facilitating the routes. And we have operationalized 86 airports under Udan. And out of these 86 airports, 20 were underserved, but 66 airports were totally unserved. What I mean by unserved is that not a single flight was going to these airports. But that was a challenge the government has taken up. Now we have constructed the airports, but we have to start the airline connectivity also. And through the Udan scheme, we have given the viability gap funding, and we were able to run all these airports. We were giving them those connections, which was very, very required for the people of that state or of that region or of the airport. And we have operationalized 86. And we can proudly say that Udan has been a real success story of the Indian aviation, which are showcasing to the whole world under the leadership of Narendra Modi ji. And why I say the whole world, sir? In fact, in September, we have had one conference also, Asia Pacific Ministerial Conference, where 41 countries were participating, and there were stakeholders from aviation across the globe also who were participating. And 29 countries have sent in the best of the people who represent aviation from their countries. And I have heard all of them speak in that conference, and they have proudly said, the real thing that we can pick up from India today is how it has improved the domestic connectivity within the country, and how it has launched the RCS Udan scheme so that it could facilitate the regional aviation in a very big way. Because for them, most of the countries, sir, for them, the aviation becomes more of an international affair. How do you connect your country better to another country? But a lot of them couldn't crack the challenge of internal connectivity. But now with this Udan scheme, we are showcasing it to the world that a little push, a little commitment from the government, you can create wonders, and that is what we have done through the Udan scheme. And now through the Udan scheme, we have kind of addressed the accessibility. Now the other thing that I've mentioned after taking charge as a minister was that I want to bring in affordability also. And I understand all the concerns that each and every member has raised regarding the airfares. I'm also a citizen of this country, and I was also a member, and before member, I was also a passenger. So I know one of the challenges that the people of this country face when they're traveling, and I understand the true spirit in which people would have spoken about the airfares also. But you have to understand that airfares regulation is, this debate has been there for quite some time, sir, and internationally also the process that they follow is they keep the aviation air ticket mechanism as a very deregulated sector, because that is how the whole sector moves forward. That is how there is a win-win situation for everyone. The market plays its game, and everyone gets facilitated in the process, and this is an international procedure. Nowhere in the world, any country has been regulating the air prices and seeing a progress in aviation. Everyone has a very deregulated sector only. And in fact, in our country also, at one point of time, there was a regulation on the airfares through the Air Corporations Act. Now, when was this Air Corporations Act taken out? It was in the year 1994 that the then government, that the then leaders thought, if the aviation needs a real push, then we have to deregulate, and that is when the deregulation happened in 1994, the Air Corporations Act was taken away, in which it was mentioned that air caps need to be kept. So after that, it has been a free market. It has been a market with a dynamic airfare mechanism happening. And now, if you see, I have another report also, because many reports have mentioned, and we have done, I have also been thoroughly studying on the airfare mechanism. And we within the ministry, I would like to tell the whole House and the people of this country that from the ministry, we also monitor the prices. We have a tariff monitoring unit under our DGCA, which thoroughly looks after each and every fare that is happening in the country. And there is a liability on the airlines also before they decide on a price for a certain route or for a certain sector. They have to send it to us in the DGCA. Now, there was a circular before in 2010 when this price mechanism had to be sent to the ministry, and they were given a 1 month time period. That if for the next month, what are you going to charge? On the first day of this month, you have to tell the ministry itself that how much you are going to charge for, okay, so many seats in this bucket, so many seats in this bucket. It is a mechanism that they follow. But in that very circular, which was released in 2010, there was also a condition saying that within 24 hours, you can change the prices again. That seemed to be a little bit favoring to the airlines, or favoring to dynamically change at a much faster pace. Now, we in this government, we are committed to bring the affordability factor. Now we wanted to see how best we can do. So we are removing that clause. We are just keeping it for 1 month. So whatever fare is there, within 1 month, they have to address it to us. And we feel this kind of mechanism is going to address a little bit about the irregularities that we see in the airfares. Now, airfares, many of the members have spoken. And also one other thing I have to mention is that when the airfares, the biggest chunk of the airfare goes to the fuel price. And for the fuel price, I don't know how many people know or not, but these are the fuel prices, the taxes on that. The VAT on the fuel price is being decided by the states itself. And we, from the ministry, proactively trying to address this air price issue, we have constantly written to all the states, and some states have obliged. Some states realize that even if we reduce the VAT, some have done it to the 1% also, and they've kept it below 4%. And when they have done this, it is ultimately going to, even if they lose a little bit of revenue from this taxing, they're ultimately going to promote the aviation. So it is going to be a win-win situation, and a lot of people done. But West Bengal, Delhi, these are states, Tamil Nadu, these are states which carry very high VAT percentage. So people from these states who would have raised about this air prices issue, I would once again make a very proactive approach to all of you, that you speak to the state governments there. And if you can get the VAT reduced in that, that is going to reduce the price, because 45% of the price of the ticket is because of the fuel prices. So if you cut down on the VAT there, then definitely it is going to bring down the prices furthermore. So that is one request that I would want to make to all the MPs who represent the states, and they could speak to the state governments. And like I've said, the tariff monitoring unit is there. One key observation that we have found about this 24 hours, we want to change, we want to move into that direction. And we are comparing all the air prices of last year, previous year, because we also want to find a trend. Now, air prices, because it is a market-oriented system, whenever you see a festival, or whenever you see some kind of huge event happening in a certain region, or whenever there seems to be a huge inflow and outflow of passengers because of some activity that is happening there, then definitely the market seems to push it, the demand increases, and suddenly because of the demand, the prices also try to creep up. So we have tried to observe, because in Lok Sabha, when I was presenting this bill, this issue has been flagged over there also. And in fact, our Honorable Speaker of the House, he has also mentioned and suggested that we should speak with the airlines and do it. And we have done that also in the month of August. We have sat down with the airlines. We have sensitized them about this problem, that this is not a government problem or anything, this is a people's problem. It has been raised in the House, and our Honorable Speaker has also mentioned about it. So according to that, we have met the airlines, we have sensitized them, and then after the season, the Diwali season has been done, we have observed that in the previous Diwali, 2023, 2 days prior to the Diwali season, and now 2 days prior to this, the major sectors between the metros and the major connectivity points where huge traffic flows, the prices have reduced from 2% to the tune of 42%. This is something just by proactively reacting to the suggestions that you have given and interacting with the airlines and sensitizing that, we'll be thoroughly monitoring the air prices. And if there is anything, because we all have the rules right now, that if anything happens out of the rules, then we can penalize them also. So we are making the tariff monitoring unit system more and more robust so that they can't act according to their whims and fancies and they feel like they're in a closed room and they can do whatever they want. We are keeping a watchful eye on them and we are moving one step at a time, and we want to ensure that जो हवाई चप्पल से हवाई जहाज का सफर जो है वो अभी तक आधा तो सच हो गया है और पूरी तरह से इसमें और लोगों को शामिल करने का जो ये है वो आगे करते रहेंगे और ये हमारे वादा है सरकार की तरफ से.